makes it December 31st. 2025 marks the fourth year and day 311 of the full-scale invasion. Welcome for the Daily Situation Report. In today's report, we mainly look back at the year, both the war in numbers and the channel itself. Otherwise, there's a territorial gain and a couple other key things. Not much is happening at the front today. Almost nothing is going on. And things that have happened are not reported as quickly as on other days. You know yourself, the people at the front have better things to do today than to constantly provide me with information. So the review will make up about 90% of the video. Let's take a look at the donation campaigns right away. We reached the goal. Every donor who took part here or in other campaigns is absolutely amazing. And I'm currently asking what the highest single donation was, so I know who I should send the War and Tactic flag to. But as we can see, we managed once again to pull off a successful fundraising campaign that will save lives. Each vehicle saved roughly 100 lives. We've donated over a dozen so far, and I think another is being added now. Just like with the previous campaigns, this is truly an incredible achievement that has been accomplished here. Others always look for some kind of New Year's resolutions, which they might give up again after a short time. But you, however, have accomplished what few people do. As the saying goes, none of us can choose the world we are born into, but we all can. Make sure it stays the way it is. So the year ends with a successful fundraising campaign. And of course, the introduction in the last situation report for 2025 is a good opportunity for a brief review. This is the approximate front line from December 2025, basically from today, and this is the front line from the 31st, December 2024, 1 year ago. Do you see a difference? Take a look at both pictures. I'll put them side by side and give you a few seconds to look at them so it's minimal. Differences are visible in Donetsk and Luhansk regions. In 2024, including Crimea, 18.52% of Ukraine was occupied, and today it's 19.24%, so 0.72% of Ukraine has been occupied in 1 year. It may seem small, but the casualty numbers tell a different story. I'm only citing the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense here, which is naturally somewhat biased. Still, it's more accurate than Russian figures. They report about 418,316 Russian losses. That means that in 2025, more than a third of the total losses on the Russian side occurred. But what you can also see is that the tank losses, with 1,813 units, represent an extreme low. Similarly, 3,815 out of 23,845 armored vehicles is also quite low for this year. But that's because the Russians hardly use any anymore. Instead of the BMP or the BTR, we see a lot of civilian vehicles, off-road vehicles, and horses at the front. According to this logic, and we can see it now, the losses of unarmored vehicles have more than doubled, from 32,626 to 72,247. This means that the losses in 2025 were higher than those in 2022, 2023, and 2024 combined. Warships haven't changed at all. It remained at 28 units since the Black Fleet was relocated to distant ports to avoid Ukrainian attacks. But a submarine still got hit. So we note almost 420 losses for 0.72 of Ukraine. But things have not only changed there, but also on the channel. We've held donation campaigns again, raising over 130,000 euros, in total about 60,000 of which was this year. We have saved many lives, experienced a lot, and have grown significantly. So the community, because that was on tactic, editorial editing, camera. The finance and other teams still consist only of me, even though I would actually like to change that next year, but I can't afford it. With the revenue from that, the legendary Alga crew has really become present this year, and is now an indispensable part of the channel. Just as indispensable are about 300 channel members who support me with the channel's costs through their financial contributions and receive some benefits in return. A special thanks also goes to Lieutenant Colonel Renneke, Robert, Ziller, and Dietrich. We achieved nearly 14 million views, 1.3 million watch hours, and met all 60 milestones. And all of this is thanks to the 18,753 new free subscribers who give the channel a solid presence. How will things continue next year? As long as the war allows it, I will of course continue to report every day, briefly and concisely, just as I have so far. However, the most popular videos aren't situation reports but cover entirely different topics. We also see that now, a new topic is sometimes introduced between the reports. More will come next year, along with new ones. Since I don't plan to deactivate the channel even after a peace treaty, was it? War and Tactic began in 2022 as an idea. There were a lot of pages on Instagram that shared small bits of knowledge, posting an interesting fact or two every day in just a few lines. But there wasn't a page that did this for military and history, and that's how War and Tactic was created. At first, everything appeared black and white, but then the logo and design changed too, and then again, and then one more time. After reaching 1,000 Instagram followers, the YouTube career began. There, facts about videos that exceeded the scope of an Instagram post were uploaded. And on the side, I also started covering the events in Ukraine and then provided daily updates about them. That happened mainly after an exchange of letters between me and the advertising commissioner or her office. The longtime viewers know what I'm talking about. That changed everything and shaped the channel into what it is today, thanks to all the viewers. Thank you also for joining me again today. I'd say that's enough talking. Let's take a look at the few things there are to report from the front today. Moscow is actually a beautiful place to watch the nighttime fireworks today because the city is currently being hit by power outages and has been for about 13 hours now. Many city districts and suburbs are affected. Different fireworks are visible near Tuapse. Here the refinery was hit again, and an oil depot is also burning in Rybinsk. There's an update on the alleged attack on Putin's residence. Trump is still upset but admits that there is no intelligence information about such an attack, but Putin personally called him to tell him about it. Of course, that caused a lot of commotion again, since everyone knows he's a professional liar. Also, the Kremlin won't provide evidence. So, a typical year-end situation? No. Mikhail Davka has fallen. I told you a week ago in the situation report that this would happen this year. Look at that. I was right. Or rather, I was lucky that Ukraine confirmed this report today. Because the new year is only a few hours away, and so my prediction would not have been correct if I had checked later. Is this change shown on the deep state map run by Ukrainians? Things are getting critical there. We recently saw that the Russians entered Andreevka. You could say it's being recaptured since the Russians had occupied this place before. Here at Oleksivka, the Russians have also been able to completely recapture the southern part of the city in the past few days. At Andreevka, as mentioned, the situation remains unclear, but they advanced to about half the town center. At the same time, the pressure is also increasing here at Kintrativka. The capture of Nodaivka here also adds pressure on Warashin and doesn't help the situation. Seeing the entire situation on the map is frustrating for Ukrainians. As I mentioned, they took an area near Kursk. Here we can still see the recaptured place names, roughly the size of the state of Berlin. And now, after their rather quick retreat, they allowed the Russians to establish a small buffer zone here, which the Ukrainians have not been able to recapture to this day. They then tried to retake these places. It looked very good. It even seemed like they had a chance here to cut off and reduce the area by a few more square kilometers. But the problem was that after they captured the first villages, they kept attacking further. The momentum ended and they got stuck. At Oleksivka, only half the villages were captured. Novomykolaivka was first taken by the Russians, then Ukrainians, and is now again under Russian control. So we see, with the shift to the major battlefields of the Eastern Front, this area here was largely neglected, and now the Russians are taking advantage of that again to recapture the villages. And that's it for today. I wish you all a happy new year. Thank you very much for your constant support and for being with us almost every day. And that's why I'm saying the familiar closing words for 2025 one last time. With that, I would like to thank all subscribers, channel members, and the Algo crew. Special thanks to Lieutenant Colonel Renica, Robert, Silla, and Dittrich. Subscribe, like, comment, and see you in the next report.